What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of the Full Count Media podcast. Today is going to be the first recap day. As always, I'm Alden. I'm the stats guy.
I'm Jimmy, and I'm not.
And this is the opening weekend recap episode. My voice sucks. I was at opening day for the Phillies. They got spanked, but that didn't stop me from screaming. So I'm going to try to project today, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to stay a little bit quieter. I've noticed on our recordings that I kind of oversee him, and with him having his voice hurting already, I'm going to try to just pull myself back.
All right. So I did prepare a bit of a recap. So I'm going to cue the imaginary music that I will add later. And here we go. It feels like ages ago now, but March 21st this season began. Padres played the home team over in Korea as Ha-Sung Kim actually got to go home. Dodgers take game 1 as the bats come alive late, but the Padres strike back with 5 in the first against Yoshinobu Yamamoto in game 2 en route to split the series in Korea. Fast forward to the 28th, and we had 2 rain delays pushing opening day back for 4 teams, the Phillies and Braves, and the Mets and Brewers. A little rain couldn't keep spirits down for the rest of our opening day teams, though, as 13 other series got underway. And ultimately, those 4 scratch teams would get their seasons underway the following day, as baseball had officially begun for all 30 franchises. Break out your brooms, because spring cleaning came early for 4 teams. The Yankees complete a 4-game sweep of the Astros at home, bringing the Astros' home losing streak up to 9 games, going back to the ALDS a season ago. Are the Astros getting old? Has their time as the AL scary come and gone? Have the Yankees started a new dynasty? Are we jumping the gun a little after 4 games? Who knows? The Pirates pull off a big boy upset, knocking off last year's playoff-bound Marlins and their injured list full of starters. In 4 contests to start the year with 3 pitchers not named Chapman all picking up saves. Who would have thought? Rhys Hoskins shows that he doesn't have to be in the NL East to have a rivalry with the Mets, as he and McNeil exchange words and whas on opening day. And the Brewers hold on to that anger to sweep the Mets out of Citi Field. And finally, the Shy Sox find themselves in the jaws of a wild animal as the Tigers latch on and run with it, taking all 3 from the likely laughingstock of the American League Central. Even without a sweep, a series win on opening weekend is enough to get the fan base juiced, and the Braves delivered just that with 31 hits in their first 2 games against what was promised to be a vaunted Phillies pitching staff, showing why they're the favorites to win a top-heavy National League. But the Phillies battled back from an early deficit in Game 3 to salvage a win in front of the Philly faithful. Angels managed to salvage their opening series after the Orioles took flight in their first 2 games, racking up runs in the first inning of each, before finally being grounded in Game 3. The Royals followed suit and salvaged their 3rd game in the series as a whole when Bobby Witt reminded everyone what kind of player he can be, helping the Royals secure a 10-0 lead in just the 3rd inning before an 11-run victory. The Cardinals had a chance to split with the terrifying Dodgers offense, but Hell's Bells struck and Helsley blew the lead, leading to the Dodgers cementing the 3-1 series victory and sending the Redbirds home with their tails between their legs. The Cubs were on the verge of being swept by the reigning World Series champion Rangers, but Leclerc got sloppy, and a 4-run ninth propelled the Baby Bears to stealing the game and escaping Texas with some dignity. Paul Blackburn came up huge for the 2,000 A's fans in attendance on Sunday night, and the sprinkling of cheers kept him going for 7 strong innings as he knocked off the Guardians and got the A's in the win column for the first time in 4 games. The Votto-less Reds, didn't think we'd be saying that anytime ever, invited Washington in and got a good run for their money. They were down in the 3rd game of the rubber match of a 3-game series in the 9th inning before Finnegan fizzled and let the Runs score 3 times to win in walk-off fashion. The D-backs brought the venom, putting up 14 runs in 1 inning in the series against the Rockies, who look like they will be feeding wins to the rest of the NL West for a majority of this year. already dropping 3 of the first 4 to their division rivals while averaging just a little over 3 runs per game. The Mariners and Red Sox do battle in Seattle and come to terms with a 4-game split from a couple phenomenal starting pitching outings on either side. In the AL East, battle between different shades of blue. Neither could assert their dominance as the Blue Jays and the Rays walk away unscathed with 2 wins apiece after their first 4 against each other, with really nothing too exciting happening in either of those games. Justin Turner went yard. He's still in that division.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. And finally, the Padres get to play and sleep at home as they fight to take games 1 and 4 of the series from the division rival and new-look Giants, who, despite their dismantled rotation, show that they've got some guys who can rake as they leave the Padres at 500 after 6 games, with fans on both sides wondering if this year will be any different at all.
I'm shocked with how well, granted this is biased, shocked how well the Giants did against the Padres, knowing that they have 3 of their starters on the IR. One's on a 15-day IR, and the other 2 are on 60.
It's the IL now.
Injured reserve, injured list. Guess what? It's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess.
But they're missing starters 2, 3, and 4 in their lineup.
Yeah.
But the 2 kids that came in for the second and third games, second and third games did very well, and the 2 wins the Giants won.
Yeah. Logan Webb also pitched really well.
He did, but it's the Padres. The Padres have a very good lineup, so.
All right, what did I miss, Jim?
Well, you touched on Bobby Witt, but Bobby Witt Jr. had a batting average of .545 in this opening series. Had an on base plus slugging percentage of 1.8, repeating. Few doubles, triple, and a home run. I would say it was kind of Bobby Witt's time to shine a little bit. Mookie Betts had an amazing opening series. Granted, it's against the Cardinals. 11 hits, 6 extra base hits, 4 home runs, 9 runs, 10 RBIs, and drew 7 walks. Had 2 strikeouts, but I mean, if you're going to get up that many times, produce that many hits, I'm okay with 2 strikeouts. Louis Gurriel had 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, an on-base plus slugging of 1.6, and had 5 extra base hits to his own right. So I would say those are 3 names to keep track of going forward. But with the good comes the bad. Teoscar Hernandez, very highly scouted player, very big name, new Dodger, has 12 strikeouts already. In 12 strikeouts in 6 games, it's kind of cheating because they had the 2 games in Korea, but that's still averaging 2 strikeouts a game. You can't have that. And then, not the biggest fan of this guy, but Rendon has not gotten a hit yet. He's 0 for 11 and has put in stellar defensive effort out there with having 2 errors. And I was watching one of the games, ground ball within diving range, didn't go for it. Ground ball within range, made an error. Ground ball glove side, made an error. But yeah, we'll go with that. In terms of pitchers, you mentioned Paul Blackburn with the 2,000 fans. I wish we were exaggerating on that number. Opening day, I think I saw a stat. They had an opening day total of 4,000 people, maybe. That's not good. I don't know if they can do it during the season, but they might be going to Vegas midseason if they can't produce any numbers like that.
I mean, They should just play in a AAA facility at that point. They hold 3,000.
It would make it look more appealing, like eye appealing. Oh, they got a full stadium when I can sit 3,000 and no, but Paul Blackburn did a hell of a job for the A's. You touched on the Braves game. Zach Wheeler did very well. He just didn't have he himself and the Phillies just didn't have any help behind him afterwards. Marcus Stroman did a great job on the road. He went for 6 innings with 0 earned runs. Oh, excuse me. And then Corbin Burns with the new team on the Orioles, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 1 home run, but it was to Mike Trout on an 0-2 or a 1-2 pitch. It was a greatly located pitch. It was low in the zone, but the way Trout swings, he just got a great piece of it. But then we have bad pitchers. We got Bailey Obear, 1 inning pitched, 5 earned runs versus the Royals. I think my freshly surgeried shoulder could have done better. Not saying anything bad about Obear, but I'm just saying. Then Aaron Nola, to touch on the Phillies again, just signed a massive deal. It was big talk in the offseason. Where is he going to go? Re-signed with Phillies. Led up his career high in runs and hits with 7 earned runs and 12 hits.
Ugh.
I watched that game. There was I'm curious to see the stats on like exit velo on him. I would say he was probably going to average like 60 miles an hour off the bat. The amount of check swings, dink and dunks, and Texas bloopers that you got. He'll bounce back. He just had a bad opening series. But that's what I've seen that you've missed if you want to go to player based.
So I want to touch on one thing that you said with Aaron Nola. I also watched that game. We actually watched that game and we're talking during the game. And every time we looked up, the Braves had a hit that was falling between Trey Turner and Brandon Marsh, or between Bryson Stott and Nick Castellanos. It was like little dinks and little dunks. And Nola looked to me like he was locating his pitches fairly well. He had some mistakes, obviously, and they hit those mistakes hard. Those were the hard hit balls. But he gave up 12 hits, and I would say 8 of them were under 70 miles an hour.
Right. And then you had, in retrospect, the Phillies hitting the ball very hard. Like I remember watching the Harper's hits. Probably had an exit velo of like 110, but it was a liner right to the first baseman, and there was that double up. So all like the soft hits that the Phillies were getting were turning into outs, and the same with all the hard hits that were on a miss pitch were just turning into outs. Where the Braves are just like, there you go, there's a base hit. There you go, there's a base hit. It was, as a Phillies fan for you, I would assume it was frustrating to watch.
It was. But I think the other thing that we really need to talk about is the Mets and Brewers.
Well, yeah, about that. Go ahead.
No, so my boy, former Philly, I wish we still had him, but I get it. Rhys Hoskins, a little bit of a hard slide into second base to break up the double play. What do you think?
I don't think it's a hard slide. I think the game's gotten extremely soft. I think McNeil shouldn't have cried about it. I think the quality of the game, I understand, is to make it safe. Yeah. But the quality of the game has gotten so soft. There was a interview, I can't remember what player they talked to. It was a player back in the early 2000s, and they talked about having footwork so that way when somebody tries to break up a double play, you're not going to put yourself as exposed. If you watch the slide, McNeil's feet are planted, not ready to try to move. He's trying to catch, rock, throw.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know there's a guy coming to try to break up the double play, you should be catch, shift, throw. For McNeil, I don't know. I'm not a shortstop. I'm a lefty, so I've played the outfield. But I'm also understanding of the slide Rhys did. I don't want to get doubled up. I don't want the guy behind me to get out. I think McNeil's a crybaby about it. That's
I
Rob.
didn't. Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with the slide. If we're being honest, he slid to the bag, and then
He slid through the bag.
yeah,
It's
but what I mean by to the bag is he didn't slide off to either side of it. He slid right into the bag and right through it.
Mhm.
And the fact that McNeil was on the other side still and didn't step off to his left out of the base path after he caught the ball is kind of on him.
Yeah.
I don't see a single thing that Rhys did wrong, and McNeil to just stand over him and scream at him, I think is ridiculous. And I think Rhys did the right thing too, getting up and just walking away and not doing anything because he knew that he hadn't done anything wrong. And
Right.
all of a sudden, he's hearing all the nonsense still happening. Oh, I've played with him for forever. He's a dirty player. This, that, and the other thing. I don't ever remember a time where Rhys did anything dirty to anyone.
I think if major league officials and whatnot had a problem with it, he would have been thrown out of the game. The head officials would have come down and say, "Oh, let's suspend him, let's fine him, let's do something." I haven't heard anything yet, and then for them to throw behind him, I think it was the following at bat. Yeah,
the next day.
And the pitcher threw it, chased down, and McNeil just kind of was, or Rhys was just like, "Okay, I'm just going to stand in the box. You threw behind me. I'm not going to engage in your attack on me because guess what? I didn't do anything wrong." If the game has gotten this soft, I'm afraid of what can happen going forward, in my opinion.
So I don't think the game is that soft. I think McNeil is just kind of being a crybaby here. I don't think that that's like a regular reaction around the league. You know what I mean? Like that. I didn't see any of McNeil's teammates being like, "Yeah, dirty play. That was terrible." They were just kind of like holding him back because he was being ridiculous. And I think that's kind of been the reaction from everyone is that he was being ridiculous. Like that wasn't a dirty slide. That's a slide that's been part of the game for ages. And for Rhys to do that, he's just doing something that's part of the game, which is breaking up the double play.
I think it would have been more, we'll go egregious, if it was like that full arm extension try to slide or whatnot. But the concept of the bases being bigger now, and for him to, what, granted the camera angles weren't the best, but visually it looked like he went just straight up and over or barely on the inside of the plate where his legs were still hitting it. He's just sliding to the bag. If you want to argue he went down late, maybe. But if you're going to try to break up the double play, you're going to be as big as possible until you don't need to be. And it's not like he went that far through the bag either, to the point where he wasn't high spiking his knee to try to take out his legs or anything like that. No, feet were down through the bag. I think what Rhys did was, okay, you're going to break up the double play. You're going to make sure the guy behind you gets on base.
I agree.
It's absurd.
I think that it showed too, like in the reactions of all the teams. Like the Brewers came out and they were like just standing with Rhys, kind of yelling back, like, "What are you talking about? Are you out of your mind?" And Rhys is just standing there like, "Wah, fucking wah," like that's hysterical. But at the same time, it's also the appropriate reaction. Like
He's not being aggressive. He's not trying to initiate a fight. He's just talking back.
Yeah.
Wham! Like, yeah,
And like and I mean, not for nothing. As a Phillies fan, I remember what happened the last time that a Mets player threw at Rhys Hoskins, and they got the exact same thing again. A slow trot, big time home run, the at bat after he gets thrown at. It's unreal. It's crazy how these things happen for Rhys.
yeah, it's a good opening weekend statement.
And I wish Rhys absolutely nothing of the best with the Brewers. I wish we still had him. There wasn't a place here right now. If you're a Phillies fan and you're watching this, Kyle Schwarber's contract expires in 2 years. Rhys Hoskins' contract expires in 2 years. The Phillies will be looking for a designated hitter or a first baseman if they want to transition Bryce to designated hitter. There is every possibility in the entire world that Rhys Hoskins could be a Philly again in 2 years. Just relax.
That's a wing and a prayer, in my opinion. But go ahead.
I think all we really have left is our way, 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 way too early predictions based on one series.
You say like it's a bad thing where there's only like 160-ish game, a little less than 160-ish games left. Well, it's not that way too early, but yeah.
You're right. It's not beginning of spring training. My fault. My fault. Not beginning of spring training. But yeah, it's early and it's all based on some overreactions from one series, but I think that's fun. I think you can get an outlook on a player from one series, and I mean all the players that I have listed, I think they're going to be good all year. So,
Same.
all right, what do you got for Cy Youngs, NL and then AL?
My NL Cy Young, fingers crossed, is Logan Webb. He had a great start. He didn't have a phenomenal start, but I mean, it was against the Padres. But like we've talked about in the past, the defense he has now behind him is going to make his ERA lower. He's going to have more strikeouts. He's going to look so much better with that defense behind him. And I did a little bit more digging. Nick Ahmed replaced Brandon Crawford. Nick Ahmed had a better defensive stat than Brandon Crawford has over the last decade. Yeah, I was shocked about that too. And then because Ahmed was supposed to compete with some rookie that we have coming up. Rookie's better at hitting. Ahmed's better at defense. So with Chapman and Ahmed holding down the left half of the infield for Logan Webb's going to be my NL MVP or Cy Young.
Jung-Hoo Lee also has to be a center field upgrade over Mike Yastrzemski.
He is. The youth and the speed out there is going to be helpful. But Yastrzemski went to right field and he went willingly. And he was like, yeah, I'm all about it. So with a better overall defense, yeah, I think he's going to be my NL Cy Young. And then for AL, I went Shane Bieber. Big name, constant. He had 11 strikeouts in his start. Central is not that strong. So as long as he can kind of maintain the Royals and Bobby Witt and everybody else, I think he's got a easier shot than a lot of other pitchers in the AL.
I like that. I'll stay in the AL and I'll stay with a pitcher that got 11 strikeouts in his debut. I'm going to go with Mr. Corbin Burns of the Baltimore Orioles. He shoved, and the only run he gave up, like we mentioned, it was a home run to Mike Trout. And you can't really be mad when you give up a home run to arguably the best player of the last decade. So
I find it interesting with how young Baltimore appears, and then you have somebody like Corbin Burns up there. They're going to be interesting to watch this year, in my opinion.
and Burns is only 29.
Yeah.
So, and then for the National League, I have Zach Wheeler. Maybe a homer take, maybe an overreaction, but the rest of when the rest of the Phillies pitching staff gives up 25 earned runs in 21 innings, and Zach Wheeler's out here like, no, I'll go 6 and give them nothing.
Against the Braves.
That's what I'm saying, against the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then if we move on to most valuable player, I will go first for the National League. I've got Mookie Betts.
Same.
Oh, okay. So that's easy. The dude is just destroying baseballs right now. It doesn't make any sense. He's just on another planet, and he's Mookie Betts, so I don't think he's going to stop.
Mm-mm. No, he's in a good spot by becoming an infielder now. He's going to have more legs behind him, and they have a better lineup overall to protect him, to let him free swing. I'm not happy that he's in the NL West with us, but he's going to be a good watch.
And then for the American League, I've got Juan Soto. I mean, it's the shiny new toy on the big time team, but I mean, short porch right field, what he just did to the Astros, and that's just already cementing yourself as a Yankees legend because they despise the Astros. So doing that, I mean, I'm just gonna run with the hot hand right now.
Did you see the hit he had into left center ish? For I think it was for the lead in the ninth inning. That was kids should watch that. It was the cleanest backside line drive to put it into the outfield, and it looked good. He's not my AL MVP, but he is arguably a easy top 5 AL MVP candidate. I went with Bobby Witt Jr. So again, it's a little conflict of interest now where my Cy Young and my AL MVP are from probably the weakest division in the AL, but
In baseball.
Yeah, yeah. But the way Bobby Witt started the season so far and the way he ended it last year, there's not much that's gonna stop him. I think from he'll probably be the best shortstop in the year, but I think he'll chase the top 5 MVP race. Who do you have for Rookie of the Year?
For the National League, I have Jackson Chirios of the Brewers. He was the youngest leadoff hitter in Brewers history since Adrian Beltre at 19 years old, and he's doing pretty well for them so far. I don't know if he's the favorite, and I do have a runner-up that I actually think you're going to really like. I just watched him the other night, and I was highly impressed. My runner-up for the NL is, and I think that this one could go either way. That's why I have runner-up is Kyle Harrison.
Okay. Yeah.
That dude is a stud of a lefty pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking the entire broadcast pretty much about how he's only throwing like 93 to 95. He can touch 96 a little bit, but for the most part, it's like 93, 94. And it to hitters, it's still looking like 98 because he's got this ridiculous extension.
Yeah. I kind of cheated with the Rookie of the Year, and I went both offensively, and then so my National League is Young Holy, the guy we talked about going into center field.
Mm-hmm.
He had a home run in the opening series against the Padres. His dad was there. It was really cool to watch. And how hard and how well he's hitting the ball already. Like he's seen he was hitting hard off of Yu Darvish and a couple of the other pitchers that the Padres have. His swing is, to me, kind of like an Ichiro-like swing. He's not kind of like running into it, but he's got that pivot into it, like a lot of Korean and Japanese ball players have. But he's hitting it hard. And then for AL, I have Wyatt Langford. Oh, okay. I checked into his stats. I watched onto it. He had like 15 at bats. He's got an batting average of over 300 already. Who knows? Maybe the second coming of Ichiro, where somebody doesn't have their batting average. Yeah, it's just it's very wishful thinking. But I would love to see somebody kind of do what Ichiro did. Is after 10 at bats, let me never dip behind 300. And it would take a rookie, in my opinion, in order to do that.
I mean, this kid's a really good hitter, but I think what's really exciting about him too is that he made, I think, like 40 starts in the minor leagues last year and climbed through every rank after being drafted. So he got like a late start compared to everyone else, and then just climbed through the ranks, got an invite to spring training, and then made the opening day roster. And now he's starting in left field.
Yeah, and to do that at the young age of 22 or 21 or however old he is, the kid's got a very bright future.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's it. I think we nailed it. I think we covered everything, and I think that's about as short as we wanted it to be. It might be a little longer than we thought, but I think that's a good length, and I think I'm happy with that if you're happy with that.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Well, we will see you next Thursday. Just for reference, this is being recorded on Monday, April 1st. So if all of this news seems old and outdated, that's why. Going forward, it'll be the week. So it'll be the week prior and up until the day that we record. So it may still be a little dated, but if you like us enough, you'll wait for us to hear any baseball news at all. You won't watch any baseball except us.
Please.
All right. But yeah, that's it. So we will see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.